Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Here's your meme of the day, brought to you by FiveMind.com. Well, it looks like total collapse at this point, and this is what happens in my view when a party stops talking to normal people and rather starts governing for a tiny clique of unhinged lunatic online activists. When you prioritize the loud minority over the people that actually make up your party's base. And that's exactly what's happening here. The Democrats are squeezing families. They're engaging in some truly disgusting political tactics here, and in the process sneering at anybody who complains, while they call it leverage, and all of it a cynical attempt to galvanize the far leftist base as we're heading into a midterm election here. The political calculus, of course, being to mobilize your high-propensity voters. But you know what? I think Democrats really might be overestimating the size of their loyal base, or I guess the prevalence of far-left blue anon weirdos, because it seems the bottom is falling out. The dam is breaking. It's been a trend ongoing for a while now, and usually when you have political demographic shifts like this, you'll have a little bit here, a little bit there, and probably a slowing of the trend for a while, but this just continues. People continue to ditch the Democrats, signaling their frustration. There's a lot of regular people in the Democrat base, and they're being shafted right now, and it seems like people are reaching their breaking point with Chuck Schumer and his pathetic little antics here. Let me show you guys some evidence of that. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks. So I first want to start off with the C-SPAN clip. We've got yet another lifelong Democrat calling in and not really mincing words, no, saying he is done with this party and their tactics.
We go to Oklahoma, where Lawrence is on our line for Democrats. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. I've been a Democrat all my life. I'm 78, and my folks were too, but this party has changed so damn much. It makes me sick. I'm going to move out of it. It's terrible, just like Schumer, he needs to be in a home, take Pelosi with him,
Lawrence, who was the last Democrat you voted for?
Pardon me?
Who was the last Democrat you voted for?
Last election. But like I said, I'm changing.
You voted for Kamala Harris?
Yeah, this is ridiculous,
Why did you
going around,
Why did you think Kamala Harris should win that election?
As a Democrat. I just saw a Democrat, like I told you, my folks were too, and I'm just fed up. I'm moving, I don't know, independent or something's got to happen. I just wanted to make a comment, and thank you.
That's Lawrence in Oklahoma.
How many times have you guys heard that? I've been a Democrat all my life, but this party has changed so damn much, and I'm moving away from it. Again, the left will pretend as if, it's both sides, right? This happens on both sides. But it simply doesn't, not to the same degree. Time after time after time, we see not only Democrat voters ditching the party, but now even unions or Democrat politicians. Look what's happening in New Jersey with Jack Ciattarelli. He's picking up all kinds of former Democrat and Democrat endorsements. People are sick of it. And you know what I think people are really sick of? They're sick of the constant anti-Trumpism. Come up with a new shtick. They're sick of the hypocrisy. When Joe Biden was in office, all you ever heard was Democrats talking about bipartisan solutions, bipartisan legislation, working across the aisle. Then Donald Trump wins, and all of a sudden it's resist, resist, resist at any and all cost. Like this clip from Abigail Spanberger. Look at her response when she was asked if she would work with President Trump on the economy and jobs.
You position yourself as a consensus builder, someone who works across the aisle. Would you work with President Trump on areas like job creation?
I think that, you don't work with the arsonist who burns down the house to rebuild it. And in this particular case, the individual who's responsible for an absolute attack on the federal workforce is not the right person to help rebuild our economy.
Now, I find it kind of interesting to conflate federal employment with the economy and creating jobs. Just goes to show the thinking. These people don't want a robust free market economy. They don't want real job creation. They want an expansion of bureaucratic bloat and entitlement. But if a Republican said that during the Joe Biden era, the Democrats would torch him. But now that it's Donald Trump, don't work with him on anything. People are sick of it. And that's what this shutdown represents, and all of it to appeal to a very fringe minority. And the lying and gaslighting that regular people are having to endure, as clearly the Democrats are the ones doing this. And speaking of that gaslighting, Democrats keep telling you every day, or rather keep telling their voter base, just hold the line. This is good for us, right? Every day that goes by is worse for Donald Trump and the evil Republicans who are taking away health care and SNAP benefits. Meanwhile, that's exactly what they're doing, but I don't think people are buying it. Again, even their own Democrat colleagues aren't buying it. Here's John Fetterman being asked that question.
So what are you hearing back home about SNAP expiring on Saturday?
I'm saying that I will witness it firsthand. My wife, Giselle, she develops the free store in our community, and it distributes food 3 times a week. And her lines have already got longer. And now I will encounter people that have no SNAP benefits starting on Saturday, and I don't have an explanation for them. All I could say is, I'm sorry. It's an absolute failure what occurred here for the last month, and now things are really going to land. And imagine being a parent with a couple kids and how you're going to fill their refrigerator and pack their lunches and get on with their lives when the things that they've depended on now is gone because we can't even agree to just open things up. For a Democrat, we're not allowed to just open this up. I mean, then our party has bigger problems than I thought we might have already. It's like, that's not controversial. Pay everybody. And you have our workers here borrowed over $350 million to pay their own bills. Like, it's a failure. And like I said, to all of the viewers, I'm apologizing that we can't even get our shit together and just open up our government.
Schumer said this gets better politically every day for Democrats. What do you say to that?
Yeah, well, ask the hungry people on Saturday. It's like, that's the thing. Americans are not leveraged. This is not some game show about who's winning or whatever. It's just like we have to be better than this and just open this up. And I do, talk to any number of Republicans who they agree that we have this conversation about extending these tax credits.
Chuck Schumer says every day gets better for us, and Fetterman fires back, well, ask the hungry people on Saturday. It's not a shitty game show where you're just trying to win. Exactly. People are actually struggling. They're causing real pain. And Chuck Schumer's treating it like a scoreboard. It's grotesque. And I think that's at the core of the misread here. Democrats, again, are prioritizing the loudest fringe, the most extreme far leftists in their party over broad, middle, rank-and-file Democrats who want their party to actually work with President Trump in some ways, work with Republicans, to pass forward good and productive legislation, not hold the country hostage over some cynical play to mobilize the blue-haired septum ring vote, the newest voter demographic that Democrats prioritize. No, it's not the working class. It's not steel workers. It's not black voters. No, Democrats only care about the cat lady vote, the psycho college feminist vote, and of course sprinkle in illegal immigrants. But going back to the main point, I'm really sticking around the concept of political calculus. That's what politics is. It's a cost-benefit analysis. I just don't get Democrat thinking. In such a weakened state of the Democrat Party, to be engaging in these shutdown antics, it just seems so ill-advised. I don't feel like the Democrat Party is in a position to be taking hostages, quite literally, to be this reckless. They're collapsing. Look what's happening with young voters. Even CNN's Jake Tapper is sounding the alarm bell.
I think Gen Z is going to be a lot more conservative. I think that just from my experience knowing Gen Z kids, my kids and their friends and whatever, I sense a much more skepticism of, and I think it is a reaction to Gen Xers and millennials forcing on them progressive views in school. Yeah. I just think that it's not just that he is reshaping and remaking politics and normalizing things that weren't normal 10 years ago. I also think it is a reaction to the failures of progressive movements to achieve what they wanted to achieve, whether it's Bernie Sanders, whether it's Black Lives Matter, whether it's Me Too.
They've bled so much ground with young voters and pretty much every other voting demographic outside of the single cat lady. And to be in such a weakened state and then engage in this kind of despicable politicking, I just don't get how the math works. You can't create a broad national coalition by appealing to the fringe blue-haired minority on Blue Sky. It doesn't make sense to me. And something tells me something is brewing here, something very bad for the Democrat Party. And I think if that's true, if that's the case, it's going to materialize in New Jersey. I think that right there is the stress test. Historically a Democrat stronghold, Joe Biden won by double digits. Well, if Democrats now underperform in an election that should be a layup, that tells you all that you need to know. The Gen Z slippage, independence peeling off, union households moving towards the right, just general regular people fatigued with the activism, performance politics. If the GOP makes some serious ground there and it's a really close election or Jack wins in an upset, well, it's going to be proof of my thesis. The Democrats are collapsing well beyond expectation. And then roll forward to 2026, holy moly, we might be witnessing a complete political realignment, the collapse of left-wing politics in America. It seems like all the factors are there. There's a lot of signs. Now it's just a waiting game. Let's see what happens. Let's see if the Democrat play here delivers the results the Democrats are looking for, or, as their policies usually do, delivers a whole lot of unintended consequences. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.